Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started here. My name is Carla Rohde, and I serve as the project manager for Project Rise. I'm going to share my screen here, let you know the order of things that we're going to be doing. Okay, first of all, I just want to introduce a few people that will be on the call for us. Leslie Jennings from Teaching Strategies is going to be on the call. She'll be teaching, or she'll be talking about the curriculum. We also have Dr. Monica Hansen. She's an associate professor in our education department, and she'll be talking about the UNK course. We are going to allow for some time for questions. If something comes up while these guys are talking, you can put it in the chat. I think that'll be the best way for us to manage those. And then we will have some follow-up information regarding just the next steps of the program and what can you expect moving forward. Also on our call is Linda Johnson to answer any questions you might have about the registration process. And then Dr. Megan Adkins is also joining us tonight. She's the Associate Dean of the UNK Graduate Studies and Academic Innovation. A few housekeeping items before we get started. This program is a grant from NDE, and they have specifically asked us to make it for preschool and kindergarten teachers. And I think that's going to become evident as we discuss curriculum and the course requirements. But it's specifically for teachers, pairs, and specialists in Nebraska public schools and Head Start classrooms, because as you're going to find out, you need to have a classroom of kids to work with as you implement these strategies. It is a work at your own pace course that will open in January, and you'll have 2 years to complete it. But Leslie will talk a little bit more about those requirements. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I will is Dr. Adkins on here? I don't know if I saw her on here or not.
I am. Hello,
Okay,
I know there's lots of people on there, so eeny, meeny, miny, mo, where's
yeah,
Waldo?
exactly.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. First off, kudos to all of you for being interested in learning more about teaching strategies and the collaboration with UNK, as well as building a professional development around early childhood literacy. So I am so excited that all of you are here on this call, as well as anybody that's going to watch this recording later. We have this great partnership that I believe will be sparking lots of interest, as well as some great insight to work for your current students, as well as the kiddos that you're going to see in as time goes on with your reading literacy. So with that, I am going to let Teaching Strategies take it from here to let you learn a little bit about their program and what you could be engaged in the near future.
Leslie, I think you're on mute.
Thank you. Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Leslie Jennings from Teaching Strategies, and I have to say, I concur, Dr. Adkins. Kudos to all of you for finding your way here to having this conversation about early literacy. So I'm just going to jump on into it and just give you a brief synopsis and an overview of what the certification program really is. We are so excited to share with you our newest professional development program for early educators, and it's called the Early Literacy Certification, Foundations of the Science of Reading. And it was developed to ensure teachers are empowered to support children as they build that early language and literacy skills. So this is just an overview of what it is. It is a 2-year multimodal course of professional learning designed for the early childhood teachers to develop the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities related to the science of reading. So you see, it is over 2 years, but we don't want you to think it takes 2 years. We want you to think, I get 2 years. I get 2 years to complete this process because, as you see, there are 50 hours of learning. That's the theory, that's the instruction, and then 30 hours of implementation because we want you to do more than just know the definition between a grapheme and a morpheme or phonological awareness and phonemic awareness. We want you to apply it to not just early childhood classrooms, your early childhood classrooms. And you see, over the course of 2 years, that's 80 hours. That's less than an hour a week. So we don't want you to think that you are going to meet with us from 3 to 6 every Tuesdays and Thursday. That's not how it's set up. You are in the driver's seat. A lot of this is going to be direct instruction through the on-demand courses. So you're going to be able to take it when everything is right, when it's clicking and you have time and resource and the bandwidth with to do it, then you'll be able to do it. Stop it, back up, listen to it again, do it again, and then not. But then, the holidays are coming or life happens and you might not just have the bandwidth. That's okay because it's going to be right there. And the beautiful part is you will always have coaches. Me and I have a Tracy Wyzork is my colleague, and we will be there to walk you through and to be with you through the process, to ask any kind of questions that you may have. So you're going to take some nuggets, you're really going to think about it, you're going to make it become part of your practice, you're going to try it, and then you're going to come back and you're going to tell me, where have you been all of my educational life? Or you're going to tell me that didn't work at all, what else you got? Either way, that's fine because we're going to have meetings and one-on-ones and however works best for you in order to do that. It is designed, as Dr. Atkins said, for our preschool and pre-K classrooms as well as kindergarten as well. So this is a certification goal. We talk about science of reading all over the world. And one of the things that is universal almost is no matter where we go, anytime we talk about it, people get a little tight and a little tense. And we understand that. So we designed this program to help our participants fully feel prepared to engage children in meaningful, developmentally appropriate language and literacy experiences grounded in the science of reading. I like to read that specifically because I like that developmentally appropriate part because that is my hill. I tell everybody, if ever I'm missing, find me on that hill because that's where I'm going to be, on the developmentally appropriate hill for language and literacy for early childhood. And our program does fulfill state and local requirements for professional learning, long-term and short-term. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So this is the big overview, the overarching view. Certainly there's more in depth that we can go, but I just wanted you to see what the program looks like from a bird's eye view. We talk about the research to the rug, where we're going to bring the theory to practice. So you see the first year here, much of the content presentation will occur in year one through these live virtual events and on-demand learning modules. And these modules are going to include that direct instruction, the professional readings, the journal prompts, the gamified practice of concepts that we've covered along the way, as well as classroom application exercises. So you see here, we're talking about oral language. We're talking about phonology, the structure of language. We're talking about phonics. We certainly can get into more depth, but those are the overarching topics that we're talking about. But year two here, you see, is going to incorporate these on-demand and live presentations, but it's also going to focus more on classroom implementation and creating your portfolio of professional expertise. Once again, we want you to know what these things are, but we want you to also be able to implement them in a way that's meaningful for you. So year two is going to offer multiple opportunities to engage with the coaches, which is me and Tracy at Teaching Strategies, who's going to help you continue to refine your professional practice. So you see, the first year is very much the theory behind the science of reading, and the year two is very much the application. Research to the rug, theory to practice. And as you can see, after all of these units, all these different pieces of the courses, you will receive individual certificates for these specific courses. And that's going to help you with your professional development hours. And at the end is when you get the certification, but you still get professional learning credits as you go along. So we have compiled 5 reasons why we really think the early literacy certification really stands out. Besides the fact that you are partnering with Teaching Strategies, who has been in the business of early childhood education for over 45 years, you are in good hands. But besides that, number one, we employ this comprehensive approach to language and literacy. We don't just focus on reading. We devote that necessary time to oral language development as this precursor to literacy. We don't just teach theory. We give teachers the tips and those actionable guidance on how to apply what they've learned in their classroom practices. You'll have dedicated coaches. You're driving, but we're in the passenger seat. We're going to be there to support you. One-on-one sessions, small group sessions, open office hours, open question hours, however you prefer to meet and to work with a coach, we will be that for you. You will not be alone as much as you don't want to be alone. We are an ISET accredited provider, which means our courses are CDA and CEU bearing, and the programs are aligned to literacy, PD, and training requirements. And last but not least, it includes all of the benefits of the PD teacher membership, which is a tremendous value in and of itself. I'm going to show you on the next screen, but it helps to extend the learning for early literacy certification members. So you'll also get, besides the certification, the coaches, and the all that learning that I showed you over the 2-year period, you also get membership into what we call the professional development teacher membership. And it has a wide variety of benefits. But one of the things that we're most proud of is it has over 400 hours of professional content. So some of it is, if any of you are using Creative Curriculum, some of it is solution oriented. And a lot of it is language and literacy oriented. But we have hundreds of hours of all things early childhood. So whether it is autism or classroom management or family engagement or multilingual learners, it matters not. We have hours and hours of content that is yours for the taking. As well as we have this, it's over 80,000 now, educator community we call the Hub. I'm been told it's like Facebook, but Jillian tells me it's like Facebook, but with content. So you'll be able to it's with over 80,000 educators worldwide. And you'll be able to talk and ask questions and get resources and give resources and just commune with other like-minded early childhood professionals all across the world. That is also included in there. So that ends my overview. I thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to stay on if there's questions later at the end, but we really do value this opportunity to partner with you in our early literacy certification. And I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hansen now. She's going to talk to you a little bit about the UNK course requirements.
Hi, everyone. If you have been on a Zoom before, if you know how to do this, use your reactions. How many of you have already used teaching strategy products in the past? Can you raise your hand? Okay. All right. So one of the reasons that we've chosen to partner with these organizations and institutions is because we want to connect things up for you and we want to provide support to you as teachers who are working in the field. And so this is one way that we can deliver an opportunity for you to enhance what you already know about literacy and early reading and writing, right? So as the UNK instructor of record for the special topics course, what I'm going to be doing is taking the course with you through teaching strategies. So I'll be in doing the same activities and helping build the connections to how does this compare to the classes that you would take at UNK so you can have the credit, and also making sure that the curriculum and the application are connected to our like reading endorsement, right? So the other coursework, so that it all works together. So it's really a 2-for-1. You have this option to be a part of what Teaching Strategies is already set up, access to the curriculum, the early learning certificate, and then you get the graduate credit or undergraduate credit. Depends on where you're at in your own educational journey and how you want to use those credits. If you already have a master's degree, if you're already maxed out on the salary schedule, you may want to take it just for information, right? You can do that, and there's an option for you. So that's why we've have it set up this way. With the course, will there be any extra requirements? Yes. The extra requirement, and it's minimal. You're not going to have to write a lot of papers and do that. What we have decided is we really want it to be applicable and relevant to what you're doing in the classroom. So we're going to focus on the portfolio, which is what you're doing as part of the early learning certificate. So we'll just collect that and you'll add a little bit to it. And that's what you're going to turn in as your final project, your cumulative project for the graduate credit in the class. So it will be a compendium of those strategies that you find most effective, that you've tried out in your classroom, working with students, the ones that are easiest for you to implement or most effective. And you're going to be the one that's judging, interpreting whether that works for you in the classroom. And that's what we're really interested in doing, is supporting your efforts to improve your instruction and make the difference that you can make. You're not in control of everything, and we realize that. We know there's a lot of criticism out there around what teachers are able to do in the classroom and a lot of challenges, and we just want to get resources to you so that you're able to do what you can. And that's kind of the beauty of this whole project. So I'm going to be looking through the questions. I'm glad to answer those. It's going to be interesting as we go forward putting this together, and we're going to need feedback from all of the participants on how to make it work. I'm thinking with the course, it's going to be a minimal, like 3 seminars where we get together on Zoom. We'll schedule it and record it. So in case it doesn't fit with your schedule, you'll have access to it, but we'll just talk about those topics about how this connects to your other coursework and your other programs at UNK if you want to pursue graduate work, and how that relates. The required materials are just going to be like the portfolio for the 6 graduate credits. So that'll probably be in part 2. We've got special topics, part 1, that's coming up in the spring. So if you're signing up for the first part, that equivalates to, while you're going through the early learning certificate, it will be the first part of that, or what Leslie was referring to as year 1. So the research to the rug, right, Leslie? And so there isn't a textbook because the materials are provided to you through the online early learning certificate. So it's all there in that platform. So that's why we're doing this, because it's well set up for your success, and it's accessible. It's self-paced, right? There is no cost for the class because the grant, if you're accepted for the grant, you're going to be allowed to do the early learning certificate, right? So that's the perk of getting it. And you're also going to have the choice of a stipend or tuition for graduate credit or undergraduate credit, depending on which one is most useful to you. So college credit. So you're going to choose how you want the benefit. That's what you get for completion. Okay, it really is an incentive. There's no hidden, like, you're gonna have to do a whole lot of extra work. It's a reasonable amount, and we're gonna try and help pace you through it so that you're supported all the way through. We have I'm not going to answer all the questions because I know Carla can answer the questions. I know a lot of people can answer all of the questions. I'm going to skim through and I'm going to turn it back over to Carla so she can talk about whatever comes next. And I'm going to look through all the questions and I'll answer the ones that I need to. But know that you can contact me, and Carla has the emails. And all of us are really willing to help you figure out what's the best option for you, and when does it start, and how to get involved. Okay, so thank
Okay.
you.
Yep, I will go on. If accepted, do you do both years or just one? So you will do both years of the program. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will take 2 years to get through it. I'm gonna kind of go to Leslie for this for a little more explanation. It is a self-paced course, and it doesn't mean that you have to follow a timeline. I'll let her explain that more.
Yes. You don't, it doesn't take 2 years. You have 2 years in which to do it. So it's going to be the self-paced course. Then you will have a live virtual course with me and or Tracy, or my colleague. And then you have some what we call tutor tries, where you go into the classroom and you try these activities out. If you want coaching and you want to talk to us about it, we have that. So that is going to be the first year. The second year is going to be more application, more about families, more about children with disabilities, more about project based. So then you will be able to go in there and do that. So it's really, it is 50 hours of instruction, 30 hours of application. So it's 80 hours over those 2 years. So it's less than an hour a week that, and of course it doesn't have to be every week. So I can roll and I can do 5 hours this week, and next week I really don't have the bandwidth to do any. You have that flexibility. You have that option. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. I think some of the questions are being answered in the chat by Dr. Adkins and Dr. Hansen, but we have funding for 250 seats. It is self-paced. So Monica mentioned earlier that maybe allow for an entire year to get through the program. It would probably be difficult maybe to get through it in less than that. But the way that it works is after you get done with for graduate credit anyway, after you get done with the first course, the first UNK course, you would get 3 hours. And then the second UNK course would be your additional 3 hours. And they kind of line up with year 1 and year 2 program wise. Would you agree with that, Dr. Hansen? Okay, good.
But because it's self-paced, I am in the class as with Leslie and Tracy, and so I can see your work in the class, right? So we have the flexibility to see how you're pacing through things and stay up to date on what's going. So I'm not going to construct a whole nother class as the college class. It's just for graduate credit, it's the additional requirement of putting the whole portfolio together and turning it in for experiential credit, right? So you're going to develop that connection between the research, the theory, what you've learned, the application, and then you're going to, as participants in the program, talk about the effectiveness, like what works for you, because what works isn't the same thing for everyone. And that's what we're trying to do, is develop your connections and the support and figure out how we can help other educators just like you learn or get the resources that they need to make any kind of a difference that they can make, right? Because we all just care about kids, and that's and their reading and writing.
then,
I'm really a
yeah.
writing person.
If you are interested in the stipend, you would receive half of the stipend upon completion of the first half of the teaching strategies course, and then the other half of the stipend would come at the completion of the second year of the teaching strategies course. As far as we're getting some questions here about signing up and applying. So if you filled out the interest form prior to tonight, then you are already on our sign up. We'll be sending an email out tomorrow with this link to this recording, some next steps, and another form to show if you're still interested. And then we have a committee of teachers that are vetting the program to make sure that we've got preschool teachers, kindergarten teachers, people that meet our WHO as defined by the NDE, and then we will be in continued contact. I will go over those next steps here when we get all of the questions answered. Let's see. So I think, do you need to be a student through UNK? No, you don't. If you are wanting to take it for credit, either graduate or undergraduate, and you're not, we will provide a fee waiver for the application process. If you are not a current student, you certainly can apply to be one so that you can earn that credit. As a stipend, you don't need to apply. That is taken a different route, and we sign you up through our payment system at UNK. Is there a cost? There's no cost to be a part of this program. The grant that we've received from NDE covers the cost of the program. It covers the cost of your tuition, or it pays you the $1,000 stipend. Dr. Hanson, did you have something else?
I did. One of the questions that we got earlier is, what if you don't need the college credit, right? Or what if you don't know that you want to complete a degree at this time? You can you can enroll in a non-degree seeking student status, and you can still take it for credit, for college credit, even if you don't think you want to go on for a degree, or if you already have a degree. And it's still, that would count as professional development. You could use that towards professional development. You could change your mind down the road and say, yeah, I did decide I want to do a reading endorsement, and then you already have those credits that you could apply towards that program. The credit, we have looked at the content of what this early learning certificate is, and we think it equivalates to about the literacy block of classes that you might have taken if you went to UNK in your undergrad. And so it's about that much time and effort. And so we are thinking that's where we came up with it's 6 credits. And so 6 credits of college credit, it comes in as an elective, but because we know what the content of that is, it could be subbed in. So if you're transferring your credits, we're going to have to work with them, with a specialist to do the transfer on the credits, but you can add that to your program for, or sub in your program for the early literacy block, or in the graduate for reading classes. Okay, so I don't know if that helps.
I think we got one more here. Let me keep scrolling. Oh, I think Dr. Adkins is continuing to answer these, but yes, this is a fully online program. You do not need to come to campus unless, of course, as she says, you want to say hi to her, stop by and chat with us.
Yeah.
We always
And also,
enjoy that.
you know that we have many of our graduate degrees are fully online. So there might be one that works if you can't come to campus. And that's the other appeal of this whole partnership, is that it makes it very accessible for people.
The one question I could not answer that maybe already had, but I just want to make sure that we answered it, was, is this program appropriate for, it was up here at the top. Sorry, I'm trying to find it now. Certain age level, have student ages 18 to 36 months. Would it be applicable?
It was designed for 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. So
Yep, nope, that's fine. I don't know the answer to
Okay.
that one, so I needed someone else to answer that.
Ideally, right, this is the preschool kindergarten version, so it's going to be most relevant to that age range. I worked in preschool for years and kindergarten, so I love the early kids, and I think it's relevant because I'm interested in the whole scope of development, right? How does literacy development from pre-birth all the way through? But it's most relevant. This curriculum is most relevant for 4 to 6.
Okay. should do if they have not yet expressed interest. So if you haven't expressed interest and you're on here today, maybe send me an email. I have my email address at the end of this presentation. I'll share my screen here in a minute and we'll get you a website. Unless Dr. Atkins, do you have that readily available, the form?
I can find, while you finish up, I will put it in the chat.
Okay, perfect. And so if you're interested in applying for this, we'll go ahead. Dr. Atkins will put that in the chat. You can fill out that form and we will be in touch, which leads me into my next slide here. And that is the one with the next step. So tomorrow, December 12th, you'll receive an email recording of this session. There will also be another confirmation form in there. If maybe after hearing this information, you've decided it's not for you, there's a spot in that form for that. But it's also just going to tell us like where you're at and what are you wanting the stipend, are you wanting the credit? And it will help us better communicate with you on what those next steps are. We would like to have that back by Monday, December 16th, because then we will send it to our committee over holiday break and they'll go through it for the vetting process to make sure that we have the correct people in the program. We open back up January 2nd, and so we'll be available for questions and assistance then. And on the 3rd, we will go ahead and email you the status of where you're at in the program, and we'll start that contract that contract signing, registration, application information. If you're applying for credit and you haven't applied yet, we will give you that fee waiver at that point in time. And then January 21st is when UNK courses start back up, and that is also when we will open the Project Rise curriculum. With that being said,
Carla, I have too many emails from you and I
Okay.
can't find the link
okay,
off the top of my head. So when you go to that next one, there'll be an email there of Carla's that you can get unless you can find it. Carla, I'm sorry. I just
nope, that's okay. I don't have two screens right now.
So let's do this. That email right at the top there where it says Carla Rohde, take that down and then just shoot her an email. And I'll put that over here too, just so there's another place you can find that. If you get the preschool post, it is listed in there. I'm sorry. Can you explain maybe a little bit more of what you're asking there? Okay, well, we will stay on as long as anybody needs us or has any additional questions. We really appreciate everybody coming today. If you have others that are interested in the program, feel free to send them our direction. We're going to have this Zoom in a recording so others can listen to it so they can have that information a little bit more prevalent to them if they weren't able to attend tonight. So again, thank you very much for your time, and we hope to see you on campus virtually through teaching strategies.
Okay, and I just before you get off, I did go ahead and put that address in the chat that I believe is supposed to take you to the interest form. So if you want to grab it there, it is in the chat. Thank you, everybody.
I have a quick question. Sorry, I
Okay.
was late.
Nope, that's fine.
Christmas program practice at church. So I'm actually at Peru State right now finishing I just finished my master's, so I want to obviously move up on the pay scale and get more graduate credit. But I'm looking to do that by August because if I do it after August, I'll have to wait until the next school year. So since this is equivalent to like 2 classes, is that possible? Do you think?
It's tough to say.
Okay.
It's tough to say. It just, you'd have to really crank on it. Are you currently teaching? working full
I
time?
am, and I've actually like from August through December, I had 9 credit hours, and so I was just like, if that's not possible, I'd probably look at taking 2 different classes to have the 6 credit hours. So
Yeah, it's just because you have to, a lot of it is application, so you're going to need to be in the classroom to do it. That would give you only like 1 semester to do it, right? Because you're not going to be with students over the summer. And so I'm thinking it's going to be it's going to be hard to squeeze it in. I mean, it might be possible. I don't want to say it's not possible, but
okay, I think it's kind of a deal breaker because, if not, I might take 2 other graduate level classes to have done by August. Thank you. Sorry.
you're welcome.
Okay, any other questions before we end for the night? If you think of something later, feel free to reach out. We are all available by email and excited to help you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.